I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm excited to meet the new girls. Teresa's wedding overall is definitely one of the top moments of 2022. I mean, they obviously start the trailer with like moments from her wedding. I can't wait to see it.
Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers?
Hey, cocktailers. I'm so excited to tell you So B and I decided to give ourselves a Christmas present, but we're going to share it with you by having our favorite fun guest this week. We have Larry from Bravo by Gays. Hi, Larry.
Guys. Hi.
Hi,
I'm so
Larry.
excited to be here.
Okay, so I'm dying to hear about BravoCon with you guys hanging out, and I still feel like I haven't gotten to hear about all the shenanigans.
Well, I finally met. So Larry and we never met. I mean, he lives upstate New York. I live obviously in the city. So we never met in person. So it was our first time meeting. It was like a blind date, right, Larry?
Oh my God, it really was. I'm so happy though, because like we talk every day. So like you would think that like we have like met each other so many times over the past few years. So I'm so happy we finally got to meet. It really was so much fun.
Well, we did meet in the COVID era. So that's one thing. Also,
Yeah.
Larry's really tall.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I'm 6'1".
I don't
And
know
Dee was
why,
like,
because
oh my God, Larry. Like,
We've done like, okay, this is so random and you guys are going to laugh at us, but we've done like Zooms, like us and other accounts in COVID.
Yeah.
Like we were all in our houses. So we would Zoom. So I've always seen him seated and I've seen pictures, but I don't know. It didn't make sense. So when I saw him, that's the first thing I said, remember? And I'm tall. I'm 5'7" and I had heels on. I'm like, man, you're so tall.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, no, I'm 6'1". A lot of people have said that before too, that they think I'm short, but no.
No,
It's too
not at
funny.
all.
Okay, so you guys might not be willing to share all of the secret shenanigans with us, but tell me, Larry, from your experience at BravoCon, who you think, like, who was super nice and who was maybe not as nice from, like, all the people you encountered there?
Yeah, no, I honestly thought that every person, with the exception of one, every person that I had met was so nice. Like, willing to chat, take pictures, do whatever. Like, everybody was so nice, with the exception of Teddi Mellencamp.
Oh,
met her a
shocker. And
few
you know,
times,
Amanda's
yeah.
a big fan, Larry. Amanda's
I
a
do
big
like
fan of Teddy.
I do.
I was too. I really was. A lot of people don't like her, and I really was like a Teddi Mellencamp fan. And then I was like, wow, she's just like, I don't know if I caught her like on an off day, like, but I had like ran into her maybe like twice, and each time I was like, oh God, she was just like not nice.
Did you, like, approach her and talk to her, or?
The first time I tried to, yeah, and she kind of just like, I don't know if maybe she was just like a little drunk, a little tipsy,
Well,
or she just like didn't seem like she cared, which is fine.
she's like
I mean,
a
you're
rich
spending all
bitch
day.
from Beverly Hills. She's beautiful. It doesn't surprise me that she's not like warm and fuzzy. I feel like Tamara would be like fun and probably friendly, but I feel like she could be bitchy too, which is why they probably work. I really wasn't a Teddy fan, but I listen to their podcast now and I appreciate her more because I like that she like gives honest takes and it's not just like fluff. You know what I'm saying? I'm so sick of listening to everybody kiss everybody's ass, and Teddy doesn't do that, so I can appreciate her on a podcast.
Yeah, she the only people she does it with are her Beverly Hills friends, and she admits that though. But yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I just like thought that maybe she would have just been a little bit more pleasant. But I mean, it is what it is. But other than that, like every single person was so nice. Like Whitney Rose was like probably one of the nicest celebrities, like Bravo celebrities that I met while I was there. But like,
she's not a celebrity, but
yeah, I corrected myself to Bravo celebrity.
you know, I have to be honest, I'm not a huge Whitney fan. Like, as far as like her on television, she's sort of whatever to me, but
Yeah.
everybody said, and I also felt really guilty. because a follower sent me a message and they were like, oh, I met Whitney Rose and I asked her if she liked Bravo and cocktails and she said she loves your account. And I was like, she clearly doesn't pay too much attention to it because I slam her all the time.
Oh my
But then I
God.
felt a little guilty, but whatever. But I did hear she was really sweet.
Yeah, no, I ran into her a bunch of times, like throughout the whole weekend, and she was really nice. I mean, yeah, there wasn't one. That was the only person I thought was rude. Everybody else was just like excited to be there and like down
What
to
about when
chat and have
Ciara
fun.
called me out in the VIP room?
That was literally
Tell Amanda,
so
I don't
funny.
think I told her.
I don't.
Oh
I
my
definitely have
God.
not heard this.
It was literally the best. So B like got us into this like SVIP lounge, which is like, it was like super, it was for the people who had the SVIP package. So there really weren't that many people in there, but like all of the Bravo celebrities would like go in there for like more intimate like meet and greets, like photos and all of that, or they would just go in there like if they wanted a drink because there was a bar in there, and it's just like easy for them to like go in there and like hang out and like not really be like overly bothered. So one of the people that we were with goes, Ciara, like, this is Bravo and Cock. We got to see so many people while we were in there. Like, I don't even remember all of them, but I remember the Ciara situation was so funny because cocktails. And
But didn't point at me. No, they were like,
Yes.
Bravo and Cocktails is here.
yes. And Ciara goes so loud. She goes, where's Bravo and Cocktails?
And then she looks right, and it was a group of us. She looks right at me. She was like, it's you. I was like,
Yeah.
why me? She's like, I can fucking tell. It's you. I was like, all right, just shh.
And she goes, girl, you roasted my ass over the Austin thing. It was so funny. But it was just like, thank God, like there weren't really, I mean, there were people around, but like after she said that like out loud, she kind of just like kept it to herself and like,
Yeah, could
nobody
have
really,
totally
like, saw.
embarrassed me, but she
oh
didn't.
my God, it was so funny.
It was
But
so
she was
funny.
like super surprised. Like, but I think even Paige got super excited.
Well,
when she
Larry
got
was
to
like, you
meet
have to whisper to Paige who you are, because obviously I'm very complimentary to Paige.
Yeah.
And like Paige and I have some adjacents, which I won't go into because it will give away too much of my personal life. But anyway, so I like went over and I was like, and she was like, oh my God. And Larry got it all on video, like her seeing who it was me and like squeezing and hugging me. And I was like, I want you to know I waited online for you, but not Craig. Because that's true. Craig, I only saw on the main floor and his line was so long. I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It really was. It was hilarious. And Paige just like looked at, like, she was like hugging B, and then she like looked over at me because I was like right near them. She goes, oh, you two, this is double trouble. It
She was like,
so
of course
funny.
you're with Larry. Of
Right.
course.
Oh my God. It really was. It was so, oh God, it was so much
Oh,
fun. Like,
one thing
honestly,
that
one
I
of my
didn't-
best weekends of the year.
I don't think I shared on here, Larry, that my sister-in-law reminded me about, because I was downing the drinks in the VIP. Because also we didn't have to pay for them. Like, we just like don't even ask. Our friends, shout out to Susan Patrice. They're the ones with the cool bag account. They snuck us in.
Oh yes, they
So-
were really cool.
I went over to Brian Benny and his brother was with him. And his brother is as cute as him in person, right, Larry?
Oh, I remember this. Yes, yes.
But on TV, the brother does not look anywhere near as cute as him. So I'm like, oh my God, Brian, your brother, he looks so ugly on TV, but you're so cute. You guys are just as cute as each other. And my sister-in-law afterwards is like, you told someone they look so, I'm like, but it was a compliment. Like, I
It was
understand.
so funny.
It didn't come out correctly, but if you see him on television, okay, he also pointed out that he's very young. He's like in his very early 20s. He's like, well, when we filmed that first season, I was only like 18. I've kind of come into my own. And I was like, no, you're adorable. But on television, I mean, you look like a dog.
Right.
Oh my gosh, B.
It was hilarious. They are both very attractive in person.
They're both very, and their parents are like, I wanted to join their family, but I think I'm not invited after that. But I tried to make it better. I was like, I don't mean it like that. Like, you know, some people look good on television, like your brother, but you look better in person. And then I was like overcompensating by telling him he was better looking than his brother. And Larry and my sister-in-law and Larry's friend Faith were like, B, stop.
That is too
Walk
funny.
away.
I feel like,
my
I mean, I
God.
want to go to the next BravoCon for so many reasons, but some of it is I just want to like see really up close, like, so what, like, some of these like Bravo celebrities, like their skin and like, do they have eyelash extensions? Like, what are their, like, what, like their hair and like their, I just want to see all of this stuff. And like, I don't know, I'm fascinated.
Well, some of them, and like, not to make it all about looks, but some of them, it is weird because some of them are so, like, and Lindsay looks good on television. Don't mistake me, Lindsay Hubbard. Larry, isn't she breathtaking in person?
Stunning. They are.
Wouldn't you say she's prettier in person than she looks on TV?
Yes,
Wow.
yeah, 100%. A majority of that, they were all very, very attractive. Like, a lot were much more attractive in person than like on TV. Like, but I did not see one ugly Bravo love. They are beautiful.
No, they're all good looking.
Because that's the thing, right? Like, you see somebody in person and it is different. And that's why, like, that, what I just said, I'm like, that does sound like super, super shallow, but it's like, you feel like you get to know these people, and it's kind of like you guys, right? Like, you do know each other really well, but then you got to meet in person and it's just a little bit different, right? And you get to like see what somebody is like.
It's so different because like you don't know someone's mannerisms and
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's very different. Like even
what
like a height
perfume they
thing.
wear. Yeah. Like that is interesting to me. Like what perfume
Yes.
people wear. I don't know.
No,
Just,
I
like,
know what
what-
you mean. Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, maybe sometime you guys will tell me at least like some of the stories that I still haven't heard, but that was a good one.
And I do apologize to the Benny family in general.
You
You're
need
all
to make a
beautiful,
public
the parent.
statement.
And his mother's beautiful and his father's handsome. They're all good looking. I had no business really saying any of that. I was surprised how cute he was. He looks just like Brian in person.
Oh my God, they look identical. They really do.
It's kind of like being at the United Club, right? Like at the airport lounge where you're like, I wouldn't normally have a mimosa at 8:00 in the morning, but because they're free and they're right here. So I'm sure you were probably like, well, they're free. I might as well have a few drinks.
Larry
while we're in
actually
here.
was pacing himself because Larry was there for 3 days. Larry also was working for DirecTV, so he had to interview people at certain points. So he was like more behaved. I was there for 1 day and I was like slamming cocktails.
I literally I got into New York on Thursday, and I had went to a party on Thursday, and I drank so much that I was so dead Saturday and Sunday. It was insane. I tried to drink, but it was literally nonstop from the moment that I got to New York until the minute that BravoCon was over on Sunday. It was just go, go, go. There was just so much going on that by
the time he saw me on Saturday, he was in his I'm pacing myself mode.
Yeah, and it was and just because there was so much to do even Saturday that I think I just kind of wore myself out the first 2 days, where I wish I would have definitely paced myself more, because I tried to even get a drink there and just casually walk around, and I was just so freaking hungover. It was
and the Bravo accounts that are
for
public,
me.
like Larry and other people, people were stopping them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he's sort of it's almost like being a mini Bravo Leb. I had, I'm anonymous, so nobody knew, but people were oh my God, it's Bravo by Gate. So he didn't want to be showing his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
get it.
probably would have been a complete douche if I was drunk and talking to people, because it got kind of, I mean, I love meeting everybody. It was it was really cool, but imagine if you're just trying to have fun. I don't know how the Bravo celebrities did it. They got stopped every 2 seconds.
Oh God.
Why
But it
I
definitely
have
was. It was
security.
so much fun. And I'll tell you, next year, if they do it again, I don't know where I heard someone say that they were thinking about doing it either next year, every 18 months, every year and a half or whatever. I 100% will go back. I was lucky enough this year that Bravo had invited me, so I had gotten a VIP pass, but I would definitely pay to go SVIP the next time.
Same. I'll only go if I'm SVIP. After we were in that lounge, and I wouldn't leave. They're don't you want to go to
Yeah.
panel? I'm I'm staying here. I'm seeing everybody.
Yeah.
I liked that.
I agree.
I did like
wanna-
the panels. The panels were cool.
Yes.
I
they
wanted
were
to
a
ask
lot-
you,
they were a lot
Larry.
of
So,
fun.
going again, you went for 3 days. do you feel like you got to see and do everything, or do you feel like there was still some stuff that you got FOMO because you just couldn't be in more than one place at once?
I feel like I got to do a lot because I was at the Javits Center from open until close Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So
Whoa.
I got to squeeze in a lot. The only thing I didn't really like was that there were so many panels that overlapped that I didn't get to go to every single one that I wanted to. So I wish they kind of would, I don't know. I mean, but you have to do it that way. You can't fit everybody in one room.
Yeah.
SVIP was the same line, but SVIP had front and center seats, and VIP seats were front but on the side.
Yes.
Like, for me, if I'm dedicating my time, I want to do it. Like, I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying? So I would just do SVIP. Yes, it's expensive, but, you know, we all prioritize. And our friend Allie, Bravo Afterthoughts, she was very into, like, the meet and greets.
God bless her.
She missed going into the SVIP because, like, there was a short window where I was able to sneak people in. And she missed the window because she was waiting. Who was she waiting for? I don't even remember.
I don't even know. She waited, like, hours, though, to meet people. I was like, okay, I can, like, look at... For me, I didn't really, like, wait in line to meet anyone except for Paige because my girlfriend that I was with, like, really wanted to take a picture with her. But... I'm happy with, like, seeing, like, oh, I can see you from afar. I'm good.
Me
like,
too.
I saw you. I'm okay. I don't need to, like, take a photo with you. But, I mean, Allie was waiting in those lines. I was like, damn, girl, okay. She had, like, the stamina to do it, though, because she's also
young.
a child. So.
All right, but what we want to do today, and I asked my followers, was go over Bravo's wildest 2022 moments.
Yeah. So many.
Okay. So... Well, let's start with the biggest one of, I think, just what followers said and then, like, where so much of our attention's been with Jen Shah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean,
okay.
We know she was... So we said last week that we heard she was invited to the reunion, and then she made a statement and we found out that she was invited. Originally, she was not invited. Then they invited her, which made sense, right? Wrap up your story. But... basically, she said, I can't talk about my case. And they said, well, if you can't talk about your case, don't bother coming. Yeah. And she was advised not to attend by her legal counsel, which is probably the smartest decision she's made in at least 20 years. Still hearing she may do a sit down with Andy. Larry, do you foresee that, like, as a thing?
I saw that rumor. Someone had made a post about it. I just don't know if I believe it. Like, if what she was willing to go to the reunion, but then said she couldn't talk about her case, so they said don't bother coming, but she's going to do a one-on-one sit-down about stuff she couldn't talk about if she would have went to the reunion. It doesn't make sense to me.
I actually, though, I could see a couple of things changing that. One being she could do it after her sentencing, but before she reports. But because right now it would be I think, very, very bad decision from my non-legal degree situation for her to do that before she's sentenced, right? But I also could see, too, if it's a one-on-one, she can negotiate that. It's outside of the chaos of what all these other people are going to say. You know, if Andy asks a question that's, like, out of the realm of what she's agreed to talk about and what she hasn't, then she could, you know, kind of stop it versus being at the reunion when there's all these other people there and there's a lot less control. So I see it possibly, and it could be a payday for her to kind of help out with either her restitution or, you know, help with the family before she has to go and report.
I wonder, I completely get what you're saying. I wonder, though, if it would even be a payday because it's her obligation in her contract to just go to the reunion. So maybe they wouldn't pay her, but she would just get paid out for the rest of the season. Because I think they get a big chunk of their contract money by completing the reunion. And I get what you're saying about doing it after her sentencing. I just wonder, though, because her sentencing is beginning of January 6th, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't she have been able to film the reunion because it wouldn't air until after her sentencing? Or I wonder if her legal team would need, if they would require the recordings from the reunion for court. You know what I mean? Before it airs. I don't know, but that makes sense for her to do it after her sentencing because after that we already know she's going to prison.
So
yeah. No, that makes sense.
But I mean, so often they go on and say, I can't talk about that. But she could certainly, she doesn't have to, like we saw Erica Jane do it. We saw Teresa do it. You don't have to directly reference it, but she could sum up taking accountability, admitting her wrongdoing. So it's a lot of her not wanting to publicly say those things is my opinion, right? Because yeah, of course you can't talk about the specifics of a case. Nobody ever can. But you can say, you know, the reason I ultimately pled guilty was because, and then today we saw Coach Shah. Did you see that
I
statement?
saw a piece of it. I didn't read the whole thing, though. I saw like a piece of in someone's post.
I mean, essentially, he said, my wife has been under a lot of stress because she's lost family members, and I always worked a lot when I was an attorney, and then I thought when I was a coach I would be able to work less, but I'm traveling all the time. It kind of sounds like she blamed her poor decision making on her husband not being around. To that I'm like, well, there
Of
are
course
thousands
she
of
did.
people that don't have their spouses around, never mind single mothers, but like what about military
Right.
wives or doctors' wives or any wife whose husband has a busy schedule? You know, she lacks respect for, quite frankly, her family and no accountability for her actions. And why would Coach even, I don't know. The statement was whack.
Yeah,
I mean-
she's one that like her delusion is really out of control because she really thinks that like she should be able to get away with whatever she wants. Like just even look at the way she acts on the show. Like she does one thing and then the next minute she like pretends like she doesn't remember doing it, with like the whole situation with Lisa like 2 episodes ago. It just like her delusion is just like so out of control. I also saw that like she was like requesting like a shorter term sentence, like you're facing 30 years but you're only asking for 36 months. Like girl, come on.
And what about, and so today there was a teaser, literally just saw it this afternoon, and it was Heather and all the ladies sitting, and they're like, how did you get that black eye?
Yes.
And Heather's like, I have no memory. I don't know. And one of them says, like, it looked like someone punched you. She goes, well, that's what it looks like. Like, did Jen do that? And is Heather not saying it? Is Heather just trying to make good TV? Like, I was going with it's an accident because nothing has leaked about it. But like, imagine Jen really did that.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually just watched it a little bit ago. I think she's just trying to do good TV. If Jen did do it, I would think that Heather would not continue to be her friend, but
Right.
her and Jen and Angie Harrington like all hang out together and they go on Instagram Live, so they're all still like very much friends. So I would hope that she wouldn't be her friend if she did actually like physically punch her. But I mean, it's Heather. She literally sucks Jen's asshole. It's insane.
Did you guys catch that at the end of the last? So we're actually recording this, just so you guys know, on the 21st. It's a Wednesday, so we haven't seen tonight's episode yet. Did you guys catch that at the end of last week's episode when Heather and Jen, like, there's 2 of the last ones to go to bed, and then Heather's like, it's okay, you can come sleep in my room, just come into my room, you can sleep with me. And then you see her lock the door, and of course we don't know at what time she locked it or if it's even the same night, but you're assuming because she's in that like, you know, room with a door to the outside that she just, you know, locked it when she came in. So I wonder if it's something to do with like Jen getting furious because she can't get in and then there's an accident.
That was my theory. My theory was that she hit herself in the face with the door. So
Yeah.
that would make
Right.
sense
That's
if
what I
Jen
thought,
like
too.
aggressively opened it and maybe it knocked Heather in the face. So maybe Jen didn't hit her, but her force trying to open the door did.
Right.
So that's what would make most sense to me. I don't think anyone physically punched her.
It makes sense that somehow they were both wasted, and in that state, Jen caused an accident, which of course isn't the same as physically aggressing someone, right?
Right.
So that could be why Heather's being vague, which again isn't cool, because if that's what happened, you're making it sound, and listen, I have zero sympathy for Jen, but I'm just saying, just say it then. Be like, we were wasted and she pushed the door open and it hit me in my eye. Because everyone on that couch is thinking Jen punched her.
100%.
Well, and the show even made it look like maybe Whitney went after her because they had their little physical alteration earlier when they were in Scottsdale. I don't know. So,
Right.
Okay, Larry, I'm very curious to know. I mean, what are your thoughts on Jen? Do you feel like she, you know, is guilty of kind of Or did you, I mean, we know that she's guilty because she pled guilty, but did you think she was guilty all along?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Someone with
So
that
you never
much,
doubted it?
Yeah, no, I never doubted it. It was just like somebody that, I mean, she always just seems to like put up a front, like with her business. Like, I mean, even when it was season 1 or season 2, when really nobody could like figure out like what she even did for work. Like nobody really knew. I wasn't surprised at all that when she had pled guilty. I mean, it was only a matter of time. She was either going to plead guilty or they were going to find her guilty, like in the court, especially because it's the Southern District of New York, and their what is it? Their like conviction rate is the highest in the country. It's like 98, 99%. So, I mean, they wouldn't go after her unless they actually had solid proof to find that she was guilty. For me, it's like, bye, girl. Like, I see ya. I'm kind of like happy that she's gone, because she really, like, every episode, it's just her like screaming at the girls and like not like, you know what I mean? Like, she just doesn't really do it for me. Season 1, I was like, oh my God, this woman is like the housewife. She's so great. And then like, as it went on and then like all this stuff happened, I was like, okay, like, I'm not going to be sad to see her go.
Right.
Yeah, agreed. And, you know, it's so funny that you bring that up, because I've been noticing about her being delusional, because I was like, it is a pattern, right? Like, I remember the first season when she like gets in that big fight with Coach. She's like, "You're never there. That's why I act out." And I am upset because I lost, you know, people close to me. And it's always like her looking outward and never owning up to
Right.
like the crap that she pulls. And so you're right. Like, she does show us a pattern of kind of delusion and a lack of remorse too, that it all fits.
It's always someone else's fault. It's never hers.
Yes.
And expect so much. Like, listen, Angie Harrington's husband making that Instagram is so stupid and whatever. But like, when she feels she's been wronged, I mean, people need to grovel and beg, and nobody should speak to the person. And yet
Right.
her, whatever she does can be explained away because her
Right.
father died, her this. Listen, losing a parent is awful. I've been through it myself. It does not excuse criminal behavior. It does not excuse shitty behavior in general. Like,
Right.
you know, grief does not mean you rob vulnerable people. So Coach is an enabler. Like, I've been like seesawing with my feelings about Coach, and we've spoke about it a lot, about what he knew, and I'm not saying he knew the full extent. I do think there's a certain turning a blind eye to it, right?
Right.
If I suddenly start making millions and millions of dollars and there's nowhere to connect the dots, and I'm telling my husband it's because I have a new marketing company, like, he's going to want to like know a little bit more than that.
Oh,
Or
100%.
like, if my husband, like vice versa, like, because you're legally tied to it. And of course, nobody expects that their spouse is going to do something illegal. But like, what kind of marketing company? Like, huh? What is this? Like, tell me more about it.
Right. And to be honest, I mean, we don't know what happens behind closed doors. They could have had a conversation that like he just acts like he doesn't know. And we would we would never know. I mean, he could be lying, and he could have known all along. We'll never know the truth.
And also, if he was completely lied to, let's put it there. His statement, now he knows what she did, and he's still defending it. So,
well,
like that.
One really good thing about her pleading guilty is it's her story to own and to run with, and so she can write a tell-all in prison or have a movie made of it. And I have no doubt she's going to try. And I am really just, you know, me, I'm the deep diver, and I love to know details about all of this kind of stuff. And I'm very interested just to hear more about how she got into it, how she even knew to even be able to do this. Because that's always been the thing that just didn't quite add up to me, is it just felt like such a complicated operation that a big part of me doubted that she would be able to pull that off. So I would love to know just more about how all of that goes, and you know, at what point she decided to kind of go into this big organized white collar crime.
I feel like in her mind, she still thinks she's innocent. I really do. Like, even if she is going to jail and pled guilty, I think that she would still I think she would still say she's innocent. I can see her being
she'll
like,
still spin it, right?
yeah, I can see her being like, I'm innocent. I was just told to plead guilty because, like, you know what I mean? Like, because of something. Like, but I'm innocent. I didn't really do anything. I can just see her being that kind of person. Like, girl, we know you're guilty. You stole money from grandma and grandpa. Like, you just own it and keep it moving. I would respect her more if she owned it and said, like, what exactly she did than her continue to lie.
And maybe her delusion is what allowed her to do it, right? Her
Yeah.
belief that she wasn't doing anything wrong. Her belief that somebody was going to do it anyway, right? So why not me? Her belief that it was already going on and this was something that was happening. So like it, you know, I might as well profit off it too. There has to be an element of that, right? She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a friend. You have to convince yourself somehow. Like nobody can sleep at night being like, I'm robbing little old ladies.
Right.
That you know, whose children live out of state and aren't around to, you know what I'm saying? So something had to allow her to sleep at night. And the way she rationalized it to herself for the amount of time she did it is the same, you know what I'm saying? So it's how she's rationalized it to Coach. It's what's caused him to now spin that, right? And to your point of, would she be able to be the mastermind? Maybe that's Coach's feeling. Maybe he feels like there's no way she started this operation. Yeah. And he believes that she became a part of something that was spearheaded and masterminded by someone else, right? Yeah. And so that she was a victim of having too much time on her hands and got involved with bad people. That's basically what he said. And like, I'm sorry, I have 2 kids too. When you have 2 kids, you never have that much time on your hands.
Right. I will say I did see her at a party at BravoCon, and the way she acted was not that of a woman who was going to jail. She literally she was living her best life and in her own head, like, I'm here, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just the way she acted was just, it was another level. That definitely wasn't that's not the way you would think somebody would ask when they're facing a sentencing hearing in a couple months. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, especially when Bravo tells you that, like, they said it at BravoCon that they cut their ties with her after she had pled guilty. Why would you still show up then? You look crazy. Like, you look like they didn't ask you to be there. And
she
her
clearly paid for her own room. They didn't pay for her lodging or her flight.
Right. And like, they clearly like uninvited you. And then her statement where she was like, they told me they uninvited me, and then they asked me to come, but then I said I couldn't talk about the case, and they uninvited me. I mean, they also could have told her, like, you can say whatever you want, but you're just not coming. So she could have just made that up too. Like, I don't ever believe anything that she says. So her statement to me, I was like, oh, whatever.
Right.
So
Agreed.
We also know from this week, the feds announced that they seized over 70 items that were counterfeit from her home. So fake Chanel, fake Hermes, Balenciaga, Dior, Bottega Veneta, Louis Vuitton, Chanel jewelry. I mean, all kinds of very, very high-end names. So I am not a huge big label person, but then this started this whole other conversation on the website and on Instagram about the fakes, and was it a good fake or not a good fake? Like, I don't know, was her stuff visibly fake, or was it like the quote unquote good fakes? Okay.
Well, what I learned from Jen's stuff getting seized is there are a lot of good fakes, and as a matter of fact, it's like a whole other illegal operation that these designers try to shut down. But they actually have fakes that use the same materials, like
wow,
the leather. Like, it's the same thing, except it's not made by Louis Vuitton, right, or whatever, Chanel. And there are people in Manhattan, and I'm sure other big cities, that like you have to know somebody to know somebody to know somebody, and a lot of housewives actually use these people.
I'm not surprised. Yeah,
I got a few website links, and I actually have somebody who said they could connect me to the person that I'm not going to name, which former Roni OG housewife uses. But I was like, you know what? Like, I really don't need to be getting involved with this. Like, I knew about Canal Street, which if you guys don't know, Canal Street is in Manhattan, and I knew that there were like back rooms that you got better fakes, but this is even a higher level. There's levels to fake shit. And when I was younger, I had fake, and now, like a grown up, you know, my husband on like, I don't know, Valentine's Day will get me a real bag, but I think we don't need to anymore. There's also like websites like DHgate, which apparently my sister-in-law, like a lot of people know about it. And certain sellers on there, you have to look at reviews and whatever, and it's all communicated through WhatsApp. It's a whole thing. It's
That's
mostly
insane.
from China. And,
Okay, so go ahead.
and you can get like, I had followers send me picture of like Dior slides. You know those slides with Christian Dior logo?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Her best friend had a real pair. She bought the fake pair and it's not like super cheap. It ranges anywhere from like $100 to a couple thousand, like a $10,000 bag, and it really being leather and whatever. You could spend like $2,500 on a fake one, but you're carrying a bag that people around think cost you $12,000.
Yeah.
So it's a whole market.
Round table, quick for all three of us. I want us to all name a number here from 0 to 100%. What percentage of the like super labely stuff that we see, or even not even, just like when I say super labely, I always think of something like a Louis Vuitton bag that's got the logo all over it, but some of their stuff doesn't, right? What percentage of the stuff that we see on Housewives do you guys think is fake?
I
I
think
would
other
say
than
like
Beverly
75 to
Hills,
80.
it's mostly fake shit.
Yeah, I
Larry?
would say like 75 to 80% of it's got to be fake.
Now that I know what I know.
Yeah,
And a lot of the outfits are rented too.
Who was it? Was it on Potomac where they wore the Endy? Was that Potomac?
I've seen some stuff that was
Where
quite
it was like
clearly
it was
fake.
missing the F and it was just Endy, but like the rest of
Yes.
it said Fendi. Like
That's
Going
crazy.
seasons back before like people were watching it closer, like there's that account. Who's the account? Bad Fashions or something.
Yes.
Oh,
And they
yes,
show
yes.
like
I've seen
Teresa
it.
always has stuff that's
Teresa.
like misspelled or whatever. Not misspelled, but like the stitching doesn't add up.
The
I would
Chanel logos are
notice.
too small
Right.
on that shirt I'm specifically thinking of. But I also look at it too, like some of the stuff looks so easily knocked off, right? Like there's the Chanel stuff with the bow, there's the Bulgari stuff, there's the stuff that just looks so, even other Chanel stuff that's just like the necklaces with the pearls and then just the Chanel logos. I'm like, there's nothing super special about how that's made or whatever. It's so easy to knock off. So that's always stuff I like. The jewelry especially I've always kind of questioned, and I always figured a lot of the housewives were either borrowing or renting stuff.
Right.
But this whole fake conversation has blown my mind.
I mean, it
The
makes
funny-
sense to me because like I get what I mean. Obviously, like they're all trying to like keep up with the Joneses, but like if you can't afford the real thing, like I mean, you kind of look like a knockoff. You're a knockoff yourself, because why wouldn't you obviously you can't afford it, to just get something else. Like I would feel like I don't even know. Like I'd feel like so weird wearing like a knockoff. Like,
Right, like I'd rather have like whatever,
want the
a
real
couple
thing or
or a
nothing.
few real ones than
Yeah.
a bunch of fakes.
Agreed.
But I also, it was so funny because a follower sent me and I reposted it. They're like, not housewives wearing fakes while their average viewer goes out and purchases the real thing.
right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we see it as viewers and it's like, oh, what do you ask for Christmas? Oh, can you get me? And we may not get the $20,000, depending on your income, right? We may not get the $20,000 Louis, but it's just silly. I think there's a lot of fakes. I think Kyle has real shit. Kathy Hilton
Yeah.
has real shit. Even Lisa Rinna and Eric,
Yeah.
they all have real shit.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills is mostly real stuff. I do think some of them rent outfits, which, listen, no shame in it, right? Whatever.
Oh yeah, Rena even admitted it last season. She's like, "Oh, it's rented." Like,
Yeah.
Right. Which,
I
like, who's
just-
spending $10,000 on an outfit you're going to wear once? Like, even to rent it, I'm sure is like $900, right? It's
Right.
not like it's so cheap.
I don't know. My mind was just blown by this because I've seen a lot of fake bags that I can spot, right? Like just bad stitching on like a fake Louis, you can tell because like it doesn't look like that, or like
The
you can
leather's
see, like,
off
on the
color,
inside.
Amanda. Like on the
Yeah.
traditional, like Neverfull or Speedy, the leather doesn't age, so it just stays that like light white. That's how you know a real Louis, right?
Right.
The leather on the handle ages.
But I didn't know that there were so many such high quality fakes, and that there's a whole superior level of fakes. This was, like I said,
Oh, bro, there's
this
like a
is-
whole fake designer side of TikTok. It's insane. And like they'll get like their knockoffs like in actual like packaging from like the designer. It like, and even like, it is so crazy. But it also goes to ask like, so she has all of this knockoff stuff. I mean, I guess it's cheaper to buy the knockoff. I mean, but then like she still, because then she has like all this money left over. You know what I mean?
Right.
Does
Well,
that
that's
make
what I was
sense?
going to say.
Yeah.
She really stole the money. So
Right.
good for her.
Right.
Hopefully she saved it because she's going to have a lot of
Right.
tax and debt and whatever to pay back.
9 million, right?
But
Crazy.
and the funny part is, and a lot of people said, like, why did they document that they were fakes? Well, they documented they were fakes so they could say, yeah, you could claim that you spent $2 million on clothing and bags. However, they're counterfeit. So you didn't spend that much. Where's the money?
Right.
So
Well, and they can't sell it, right? Like they also can't sell it to make restitution, because
Right,
there's a big aftermarket, a secondhand new market.
And they're not
Anyway,
going to sell
okay.
it because it's illegal to sell a fake. So now there's nothing they
Right.
can do with that product.
Exactly. They have to destroy it, I think.
Larry
I think
will know
that's what
this.
they do.
What is this quote from? I feel like it's a Housewives show. It's, if you ask me, we'll never see her again.
Oh.
No? Maybe it's like
No.
not a Housewives. Maybe it's
No,
just a
it does
television
sound
show.
very familiar. I don't know what it's from, though.
If you ask me, we'll never see her again. That's how I feel about Jen Shah.
Oh, was it about Mary Cosby?
Maybe. Which is a
Yeah,
whole
the-
other rabbit hole. But let's get to
Viewers will know.
our second most
Right.
Yes.
talked about.
Oh, it's Lisa
So-
Rinna about Denise Richards.
Yeah, I knew you would know, Larry. You just needed a minute. That's how I feel
Ah.
about Jen Shah. You ask me, we'll never see her again.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. Okay, so next big crazy Bravo moment of 22 was Teresa's wedding and the feud. And it's still insane to me that we still have not seen one, other than the trailer that came out today, not 1 minute of the actual show, but we already know so much about what has happened during this season. There's the whole feud with Teresa's brother Joe and Melissa, her sister-in-law, who end up not going to the wedding. And then, like I mentioned, we have the trailer from today. So, Larry, what do you think about did you watch the trailer yet?
Oh my God, yeah, I watched it twice. Like, I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm excited to meet the new girls. Teresa's wedding overall is definitely one of the top moments of 2022. I mean, they obviously start the trailer with like moments from her wedding. I can't wait to see it. I mean, I'm assuming that she's getting a special and it will just not air until after the end of the season, is until the end of season 13. I know we were chatting a little about Melissa's mom and sisters not being invited. And then the more I think of it, like if Teresa really wasn't in a good spot with Melissa, like why would she invite them? Like,
But here's the
on
thing.
my end, it's like a little bit different for me. Like I would invite my brothers, like in-laws, if I was like as close with them as they had made it seem like Teresa was with Melissa's mom. But then after like thinking about it a little bit, it would be a little bit weird, especially if they're on the rocks. So I can't wait to see it all play out. I really cannot. And I'm like already like the tree huggers like need to relax about
my
like
God.
just seeing
When
the
I saw the
3-minute
clip, Larry, not the first thing, but one of the things I noticed was Melissa say, I'm like, my mother's always been good to her. So I immediately reached out to someone I know that knows, and I'm like, I thought that Melissa was referencing like maybe her mother not and her sisters not being invited to the rehearsal dinner, right? Because they had a whole weekend of events, right?
Yeah.
And this was prior to Melissa and Joe not going. So I was like, and the person was like, they weren't invited to the wedding. Now, obviously they're not in a good place now, but that transpired like throughout the season. The invites were sent and her mother was left off the list. My thing is, Teresa's all about old school Italian family values.
Yeah.
As my own mother was, okay? You always invite in-laws, especially to a big wedding. You're having a huge wedding. She invited freaking Chanel Ion, who she met one day. She
Right.
invited Ramona Singer, who we know published her wedding invitation, ultimately didn't come and didn't send a gift. But you
What
don't
an
invite
ass.
your sister, even if you have a beef with your sister-in-law. Let's forget about the sisters. Her 70-something-year-old mother, who we watched be very good buddies with the dad after her mom had passed. We watched one season. They were at the Mother's Day brunch, and Melissa's mother said to Teresa, I know no one can ever replace your mother. Always know you can always call me or come see me. I'm always here for you. So I'm sorry. At a minimum, the way that Teresa operates and her bylaws, her belief system of this old school Italian, sisters, I still believe that sisters should be invited, but you don't invite Melissa's 70-something-year-old mother. It doesn't matter. It wasn't like at that point they had the falling out and Melissa wasn't going to the wedding. That happened after. So to leave her mother out, to me, is egregious. And it plays into the narrative that everyone says, which is he is a narcissist and he wants to isolate her from her family. And I don't care whatever transpired after her mother not being invited. That is such a hit to Joe and Melissa. I mean, she's an elderly woman.
And and she could have made the decision not to go afterwards, but at least she would have been invited, you know?
Right.
Like she could have made.
It's just something you do. It's keeping up appearances. And she did it. And I, in my heart of hearts, I don't believe it was Teresa's choice. I believe it was his choice. I believe he gave her this whole song and dance about them, right? Because listen, there's no denying Melissa and and Joe and Teresa have bad blood. And there's no sense in debating. There have been times they're both wrong. One is wrong. One is right. You can't have a problem if one person is innocent. With that said, her mother hasn't done anything to Teresa, and I like to see her explain why she left her out.
Right.
Well, and it doesn't fit Teresa's narrative, too, of like, I just want to be close to my brother, and I do everything I can to, you know, like, she's had this, like, whole narrative that she's been going on and on and on about, and then, because, you know, when we were talking just a little bit before we started recording today, I was like, I don't know, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm like, if you know somebody in my family was getting married, would they, but we don't all live in the same place. I have family all over the country, and you know, we're not all doing like so many holidays like we've seen them do. And so the more I think about it, the more I'm like, that is a real direct snub on, you know, and it's definitely an in your face Melissa move, I think, from whether Teresa's the one who was behind it, she's still part of the one who executed it. So I think she's, you know, unfortunately just as at fault, even if Louis is the one who was kind of the mastermind behind that move.
And imagine if the shoe was on the other foot. We all remember how Teresa regarded her parents in the highest regard, which is a beautiful thing. Imagine if her parents were excluded from something.
That just goes to show, it just goes to show
the
Teresa's, the double standard. Teresa's family. And don't get me wrong, I like Teresa. She's all family, but only with her rules. You know what I mean? Like it has family, but the way she wants it to be, not like taking anyone else's like feelings or thoughts into consideration. It just, and I'm so sick of people are like, I love Melissa Gorga. I know there's a lot of people that don't like her. It like blows my mind that people are like, looks like Melissa has the same storyline again this season.
Right.
Same. So does Teresa. Teresa keeps pushing it. Like it's not. Like, it's insane. Like tree huggers literally, like she can do no wrong in their eyes, and it's just like
they're in my inbox. So mind. I posted about Teresa's mom and sisters not being invited. I'm sorry, Melissa's, and the tree huggers are like, why should they be? They didn't do anything for her while she was in jail. And I'm like, okay, well, when she got home, the season after that, she was actually friendly. Remember, she was out to dinner with the sisters.
Yeah,
she had the mother over. They were obviously friendly with each other. So whether they did or didn't help the mother and the sisters with the girls while Teresa was in prison, Teresa, when she got out, was fine with them, and they were all on good terms. So what could a 70-something-year-old woman have done except exist and be Melissa's bloodline to offend her? But there are other. So like, then I have Melissa's team inbox me, and they were like, they named a couple of things that Teresa had done, and they said to me, and I want to know your opinion on this, guys. They said, if Melissa had done any of the things that Teresa has done recently, her crazy fan base on Twitter would go bananas. She started a podcast on the same pod company as Melissa, right? The whatever their Pod One or whatever.
Podcast One, yeah.
She moved onto the street. Yes, the Gorgas have since moved, but she legitimately bought a house on their street. And now, most recently, this follower said, which I'm blocked from Teresa, but Teresa's constantly posting her house. Now, we know Joe and Melissa are posting their house. They just moved in, but this person was like, Teresa's never really posted her house so much, and now she's doing what Melissa's doing. So it's just, I think they're both guilty of playing this game with each other. So
Yeah.
I just think the not inviting the mother is an obvious way of looking like a jerk.
Right.
Well, and they're continuing to just try to one up each other of like who can give each other the bigger fuck you, you know? Like I would like to I don't know. I'd like to see it squash, but it's starting to feel like maybe it never will be.
And then we see
it won't
in the
be
trailer,
squashed until they're all off TV.
Yeah.
I feel
Right.
like, and that's my own opinion. But I can't wait to see the wedding.
Or Louis goes away.
Right.
If Louis goes out of the picture, I could see it getting squashed too.
Right. And by go away, do we mean go to camp or leave? Oh, anyway. And then Frank and Dolores. I'm so happy to see Dolores's new boyfriend with his cute Irish brogue. But like,
Yes.
it made me feel bad. And also, what's with Frank with the tank top
Oh my
in the
God.
restaurant? Did you guys notice that? Like, they're in like a
No.
nice Italian restaurant and he's wearing a guinea tee.
I love them so much. Like
And it
Dolores
made me
has
feel
got to be
bad
one of my
'cause-
favorite people. When he was like breaking down about how he wants his family back, like then that just goes
I
to show
know.
because remember, wasn't it on the last reunion where he said that him and Paul aren't like in a good spot? So
Yeah, and I think we're
Yeah.
going to see some of that.
yeah,
I'm hoping that they
excited to
move
see it
past
all.
that. And then
You know-
Jen and Margaret. Did you see them? I mean, these two, and
They'll
they're
never
such
like each
different
other.
people. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like Jen can't stand the sight of Margaret because to her, she's willing to sacrifice everything for her children. And she sees Margaret as the adulterer. And she says it. She's like, you'll never have a family like I have. Margaret has a family. Like just
Right.
because it looks different than yours doesn't mean she doesn't have a family. And then on the same time you see her in the same, scene later, you see her cursing her husband out for not helping and not doing. So it's like she's mad because Margaret left an unhappy marriage where she felt unappreciated. And she's choosing to stay in that marriage, which is a choice. It's two different sort of families you're choosing to have. But it's like not right to diminish Margaret's family. And also her son's 26 and doesn't want to be on television.
She does that every season where she pulls that stuff with Margaret. And, like, get a new shtick. Like, it's like the
Mhm.
one thing you go after her constantly because it's the only thing you have to go after her about. Like, it's just get over it. Like, you're taking out your anger with your husband on her, and that's just like it's ridiculous.
Agreed. I'm excited to see the new girls. I think Danielle is so extra, but I love it. I think that she's going to be very good TV. I honestly think she could completely replace Teresa because I think it's sort of like what Teresa was 15 years ago,
Yeah.
except that her husband's like seems to be nice.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them too. I am happy that Jackie still has a role. Obviously, like we have known for a long time that she was going to be demoted to a friend of, but I'm happy to see that she's still on there because I feel like she put it all out there the last season or two. So I'm happy to like see what her journey is this season. I'm a big Jackie fan. I get a lot of
Me
heat
too.
for it, but
She's good people. I
Did-
like Jackie.
Did you guys see that Bravo? I mean, I think they had Andy's name on it, but it was from Bravo. Sent the housewives letter jackets
Yes.
with their names on it,
Oh
and
my
Jackie
God.
had one.
oh, good. No, I didn't see that. That's really cool.
Yes.
though.
So
But she's
that's a
not-
good sign.
But she's going to be in it plenty. Look, I mean, Marisol and Adriana are friends of, and they're on just as much.
Yeah.
But you see in the cast photo, it's great because Dolo's in the middle. Very clearly, she's friends with both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have Melissa, Rachel Fuda, who's the new girl who's so gorgeous. Oh my God. And
Rachel?
She
yeah,
looks
she's
like
beautiful.
you, I think.
Me?
Yes.
Oh my God. First, I was told I look like Catherine Zeta-Jones, and now I look like Rachel Fuda, guys.
I saw
I'm
her
telling
on
you.
the thing because I haven't seen much of her, and I was like, oh, she reminds me of B. She looks like you.
Ah! Amanda, you're my favorite person.
We're giving away the fact that
Larry's not
B
agreeing,
has-
by the way.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. I'm like,
So wait, who was it that had the awesome line? Because it was like one of those where it was like a wide shot on like it looked like a party.
It was
at,
Rachel
like, a
when
party.
Jen
Somebody
and
was like,
her
"Don't let the door
obnoxious
hit you on the way out,"
and she's like, "There
then
is no door,
"There's
you
no door,
asshole."
yes. Oh God, it definitely is Yubi. That's hilarious.
It
No,
was
I'm
Jen
looking
and
at all their
Rachel?
photos now.
No, now he's looking at the photos to confirm. I'm excited to see the new girls. I forgot what we were saying because now I'm glowing in this compliment.
Rachel Fuda. What we think of her so far?
Oh, you said
I
that
think-
Danielle could possibly take over Teresa, and you were going over how they were in the way that they're like stanced in the group photo.
Well, so I had this whole theory going back, Larry, and I don't think you and I have discussed it, but Amanda and I had this theory that like maybe like Danielle and Rachel, maybe it could be like a legacy, although that shit has bombed the whole legacy and Roni reboot. But if they planned better, they could like kind of spin off and have two shows, like the OGs and the. Because listen, those girls, so like Melissa's like the go-between, because Melissa is probably not that much older. Like the girl Danielle is in her late 30s, I believe. She's like 37, 38, but her kids are younger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Melissa had her kids in like her early 20s. So she's like 42. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
age-wise, they're not that far apart. But Amanda and I are moms, and we know that the age of your children kind of dictates who you hang with, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Rachel and Danielle both have young children. But so Danielle is very clearly on the side. So in the photo, it's Dolo in the middle, and you have Rachel, Margaret, and Melissa. That's one team, which we know they have Jackie with them as the friend of. And they also have Jen Fessler because she's a friend of Margaret's.
Yes.
And then on the other side, you have Danielle Cabral, who's the new girl, who's gorgeous, by the way, as well. They're all beautiful. And Jen Aiden and Teresa Giudice.
It
I
literally is
also still
Dolo
go
in the
back to
middle,
the
and the
fact that
teams
she
are
didn't
divided.
change her name.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want her to. Because she's more recognized as Giudice. I can't. The flags that are waving.
Right.
And then there's also they talk about Jen and her husband both being like wasted, I think was the word that they used, which I just think is
Yes.
interesting that this is something that's continuing to go into this season. And I don't know, I kind of wonder, like, if I'm Bill, like, as much enjoyment as I got out of him seeing the polo, like wearing that polo backwards, if you're a plastic surgeon, I feel
Right.
like,
Don't
like,
go full Lenny
on
Hochstein
camera is
on us.
maybe not the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
just maybe do
I
it
don't
off
know.
camera.
You know, to that I say, I am sure that it's a once in a while thing and he doesn't have surgery for a
Yes.
couple of days, like, you know.
Yes.
But
Yes,
what I
of
do think is
course.
interesting is that Jen and Teresa can relate to each other because Jen is in an, I'm going to call it old-fashioned marriage. And by old-fashioned, I mean her husband cheats on her in the way that it's rumored Joe Giudice cheated on Teresa. And they have that whole turn your head, focus on the children, family.
Yeah.
And from what I know from Danielle Cabral, her and her husband have been like, they're like, you know, sweethearts, and they kind of came up together and they built this life together. And they seem very in tune and much more like a Melissa and Joe relationship. And
Mhm.
also what I see from Rachel and her husband. So I think that on the surface, they have Danielle on their team. But I think if we're to go to next season and all the same people are still around, like I can see Danielle relating much more to Melissa than Teresa.
Yeah. We're gonna have to wait and see, and I agree. Yeah. I mean, who does she? Do we know how Danielle comes in as whose friend?
What we know is that she is a girl who was on a reality show. She was on like the VH1. This is Staten Island. She is the stepdaughter of a Lorita, so she's got a Manzo connection. And she really, really wanted to be on reality TV. And she makes like she says it on her Instagram. She's like, you know, I thought I was going to be on the show and I wasn't, and much bigger things happened. And she couldn't come out and say, but we all knew. And she just wants to be on reality TV. She wants that life. And yeah. So I
Interesting
think
that
she
she
kind
is
of picked the
the-
most powerful team, which to her was Teresa.
Which is interesting if she's a Lorita.
Right. Well, it's so we also talked about this. So her I forgot the connection. But so you know Candice Lorita? Laura Manzo's best friend,
Okay. No, but okay.
her dad or her mom, I forget which one, is married to her dad or her mom. But they got married when Danielle and Candace were adults.
Okay,
So it's like,
okay.
so it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's, they know each other, but it's not like they're from when they were kids. Like, they were all adults. I believe that, you know, Danielle was already married. So it's kind of like whatever. And she always wanted to be on reality TV. I also saw that Danielle has a strained relationship with her brother. So that's why she's butting in with the Teresa and Joe thing, apparently.
That's interesting.
So maybe he'll come on next and they'll completely replace the Gorga Giudices.
Right.
Who knows?
I'm
But I think,
excited.
I
I'm
mean,
so excited for the next season. Like, it's gonna. I've like
Agreed.
when Jersey's on. Like, yeah, it's heavy and like they get dark and it's like a lot of. But Jersey's always been about family and like the like the arguments and the fighting and like the love or whatever. Even though there's not really any love now between Teresa and Melissa. But it's they deliver like every season. It's good. I really can't wait for them to come back.
Agreed.
Okay, so next big Bravo moment was, I mean, just Beverly Hills. Let's just put it all in a bowl and mix it up because there was so much, right? First of all, let's start with just Erica Jane. And then you guys are all familiar because we've talked about this a lot with Ronald Richards, who is this attorney who kind of came out of nowhere and, you know, does these posts always with like the red light siren. He loves to post about Erica Jane.
The red light siren.
It's so funny.
You know
I
what I'm
like
talking about,
have
right?
it.
Yes.
I have it in my
Yes.
head exactly what his posts look like.
And, you know, constantly commenting on Erica Jane's legal stuff. And then at one point was even seemingly part of it and then somehow was out. But this week we found out that, and I swear to God, didn't we not? I think we predicted this. Either we did it on the podcast
You
or you
did.
and I talked about this.
I think,
that
I don't
he
know.
freaking
I don't know
bought 'em.
if you said it on the podcast, but you definitely said it to me, and I forget what's recorded and what's not. But you predicted
So,
this.
yes.
You said that guy is a creep, and he tried to buy our house, and he's going to try to buy those earrings. I hope it was on the
Yep.
podcast because you got some psychic
But
stuff.
bam.
Like,
And he
obsession with
did.
her. It's insane.
Yeah, it is beyond creepy, and I think it's like not just, it's gone way past petty into creepy stalkery. But here is my question. So he put down a legitimate offer for that house too, which was, I don't know,
Yeah, I think he
$8
didn't
million,
want
I
to turn it
forget.
into a museum.
Yes.
Something
Yeah.
weird, yes.
And then
Loser.
he bought these earrings. $250,000 is a lot of money. Is anyone looking into where Ronald Richards gets all of his money?
He definitely is a millionaire. I remember he back on the day he was on Patty Stanger's Millionaire Matchmaker. I think he definitely has the money, whether it be from law or whatever. I think he's definitely got it.
Oh, I didn't know he was on Millionaire Matchmaker.
I
That's
didn't
interesting.
Yeah.
Larry has all the scoop. Listen,
But I mean,
all I have
it's-
to say is after our whole Jen Shaw conversation, Erica seems so sweet and innocent.
Right. Right. I just thought it was so tacky of the wife to even tag Erica in the post. and
Oh
say,
my
like-
God. And
It's
she
just
said,
so
yeah,
weird.
she's like, they're stunning. I know why you fought for them. Should I have Girardi removed? And that, because it says Girardi on the earrings. And then she hashtag Girardi fraud, hashtag fraud. Girl, you should be more concerned with your husband's obsession with this beautiful woman. Like,
Right.
get the hell out of here. Talk about kicking somebody when they're down. It's just nasty.
And like the balls that you have to even do that. Like, that's one, like, okay, like, it's your husband's like shtick to go after her. Like, I've been using that word
Right.
a lot today. To like go after her on Twitter or whatnot, but not like you're gonna get involved. Like, you just look thirsty. Are you trying to get on TV? Does he want you to be a housewife?
Totally. Like, are you guys jealous?
Right. Beverly Hills
think
was
that's
such a
gross.
hot mess. I feel like it was on for that last season was like 2 years long. I'm still
So
like, it
long.
was just insane.
Too
I'm
long.
I'm so happy they're taking a break before they start filming again. I think next month
Same.
you guys recorded or something like that.
Yeah.
And speaking of hot mess, we have Kyle and Kathy both in Aspen.
Oh my
Kyle was
God.
not at Kathy's holiday party. They were all together at the People's Choice Awards. And then, Larry, did you see the interview with Bryce Sadler on ET where he's there and Kathy's making wreaths and she's like, And I made one for Lisa. You know, she's so easygoing.
No.
The fuck?
Oh my! She had to have been kidding. She had to have been kidding.
She's just like goading. I think she's just like trying to get under Kyle's skin. And, you know, the whole thing, I can't get a firm answer if Kathy's back or not because she doesn't give a firm answer. But what I will say, because my source, like, I don't know, they usually have good Beverly Hills. What I will say is, like, Kathy should just leave because Kyle is a master at reality television.
100%, yeah.
And if they're not made up, good freaking luck, Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy should just bow out and just leave it be, like, and fix her relationship with her sister, because this really is Kyle's thing. I really can't see them getting rid of anybody except for Diana. I mean, I know a lot of people want Rinna gone or Erica gone, but I feel like
never gonna happen because people tune in to see their shit, even though we complain about it.
And Andy loves Rinna, like loves her, so like I can't really see them getting rid of her. I mean,
right.
I mean, I don't know. It's just Beverly Hills is such a hot mess too right now. Like, Jesus.
I did hear Dorit and Crystal might be demoted, but I think that's all to be determined.
Yeah.
The whole thing was chaotic. The bots, Aspen, Dorit's robbery. I mean, these women delivered. Bring them all back. Give us a few months to process and bring them all back.
And the thing with Beverly Hills too, though, is they usually start filming like a week or two after their reunion. So they're just thrown right back into it. They don't have time to process everything. Where if you give them a few months now and then they go back into filming, they could be in a completely, totally different spot, you know?
And we saw them all together at the People's Choice Awards.
Right.
And what the source told me was that we're not going to know the cast until after the new year. So all the stuff that we've been getting and we've been reading, it's
all rumor.
Nothing's coming firm until the new year. And even then, we may not hear if Dorit's demoted or, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that all plays out.
And yeah, they can make the decision to demote her or keep her until like the absolute end when they like have their stories and everything in place and see how maybe other people performed. Because it's going to be the same thing like with Jackie from Jersey. It was announced pretty early on that she was demoted, but she was like, I've been filming every day. I've been filming the entire time, and they don't make those decisions until the end. So, it's possible we may not even know who will be full-time until they're done.
True.
I don't know. I agree with you, though, Larry. I feel like this season aged me.
Right.
I just felt older and more tired.
And not wiser.
Right. Yes. No, it was a lot. It really was a lot.
I'm still basking in my compliment, Amanda.
I love it. I love it. Well, okay, so what else do we have? I mean, there was a lot of, I feel like we have to like kind of put Summer House, Southern Charm, Winter House kind of in together now because there's so much overlap between all of them. What do you guys like? What were some of your favorite moments? I know that some of the readers said Luke and Ashley hooking up at BravoCon has been a top moment. We know that she just shared him on her grid, and a picture of his mom gifting her cookies and his maple syrup has been all over her Instagram.
I don't see them going the long haul. I think that there's a lot of lust there. I think there's some looking for attention, if I'm being honest. I think that Ashley is newly single and wants to be dropped like it's hot with a hot guy, and so that's her angle. And Luke's not currently filming anything. And his best friend's one of the top PR people, as far as I'm concerned, Lindsay Hubbard. So I think the two of them are just having fun together, and they're capitalizing off it because accounts are going nuts, and they're getting attention from Bravo and Watch What Happens Live. And, you know, Luke could have been made irrelevant, and Ashley's keeping him relevant. Larry, what do you?
I agree. I don't see them going the long haul. I mean, I'd be surprised if they did. I think that they are both very attractive people that are just having fun, and they're probably having a lot of really good sex. So and Ashley deserves it after having to have sex with Michael
she had
Darby.
Sex with a freaking troll for how many years?
So I'm happy for her that she's just out there like living her life. I mean, good for her, because Luke, let me tell you, in person, that man is so gorgeous. Fine. It is insane.
And he's chiseled.
Yes, like a statue.
Get your groove back, girl. I'm happy for her.
I know. I am too. I did love though when Robin commented on that post. Like, is this your boyfriend? Like, so it makes me wonder. Like, is she telling people that's her boyfriend? I mean, even if she is saying that that's her boyfriend, I mean, I can't see them getting married. But I mean, I don't know either one of them, so like, what do I know? I'm just going off of what we see like on Instagram. But hey, if she's having a hot and
Listen,
heavy
if they
romance
go
right
the
now,
long
good for
haul, I'm
her.
here for it. I like them both.
Same.
Totally. Okay, what about, well, how about the stuff that's happening after the season where we keep getting questions about Paige and Craig?
If I
Me
get
and
one
Larry
more
laughed
damn
about
question,
this.
if I get one more DM about Paige and Craig, I'm going to lose mind. Like, I don't know how many times I have to tell these people, they don't post each other on their grid. They have only maybe done it twice. Paige definitely maybe only 2 or 3 times at most. Like, I think she's like in on it. She finds it funny. She talks about it on Giggly Squad. She like mentioned it a couple episodes ago where she was like, I told Craig, I asked him if we should address this because everyone on the internet thinks that we're broken up. And then she was like, nah, let them think what they want. They're clearly very much together.
And Amanda and I spoke about this last pod. I think it's a hit at Lindsay and Carl because I think it's like them being like, we have 2 solid brands with or without each other. Because when there was all that talk about them getting together because to make a bigger splash, right?
Yeah.
And then Lindsay and Carl got together and the same was said about them. And they very much have branded themselves together. I feel like they're purposely being the antithesis to that.
Yeah.
And we know there's no love lost between those couples. So
none whatsoever. But
I just laugh because I keep saying, like, I get it. And I'm like, they're fine. And then the same person messages like, no. I'm like, all right. Well,
I died though when you posted that thing of her on the escalator. Was it today? And you're like,
Right.
They are very much together. Like,
right.
Yeah, I probably got a couple hundred DMs asking if they had broken up. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Right. Enough.
Guys, they don't live in the same city. And
right.
I mean, is everyone not just like crazy busy in December with holiday parties and work events? And there's just so much that happens this month. That doesn't shock me one bit that they haven't been able to be together as often as usual. Right. So,
and they were together because they were together on Thanksgiving, and then she was with him when they went to the restaurant opening, but she wanted to stay home because she was shot from work. So like, they're just a normal couple.
And he was there on her birthday. They just don't really care to post a lot about each other. And I mean, they put so much of their relationship on all of their shows. Like, give them a little bit of like grace to like keeping some shit to themselves. Everything that they really post is business, and like, get the bag. Good for you.
Totally. Larry, thoughts on Danielle and Robert's split?
Oh my God. We still haven't gotten confirmation from them.
But enough accounts reposted it that if they wanted to stop.
They could have, yes.
She posted today that like a picture of her tree with the sign in the background, which I think Amanda's assumption is right, which is that there was no like cheating or huge thing. It was that their schedules were conflicting to the point where they were like, let's take a break. I personally think that Danielle probably was pushing for the ring. Come on, listen, I'm a woman. My former best friend, who I'm now beefing with, got engaged to my ex-boyfriend, and my boyfriend of 2 years isn't putting a ring on it. I still say I can see them getting back together.
Yeah,
with a ring. Too. With the ring.
Yeah, if they take a little bit of time apart to figure it out, and maybe that's why they're not making an announcement, because they just don't know like what's going to happen in the future. They don't owe it to us to make an announcement either. Like, it is what it is.
They do. You
think so? I mean, to me, I'm like,
I don't really think so, but I think so.
Unless she starts dating somebody else, then I mean, yeah. But I mean, he's constantly traveling. Every season, he's at another restaurant for the company that he works for. I can see her getting a little bit annoyed with it, not being able to see him like all the time. I really thought that they were like going to be endgame for each other, so I'm upset to like see
I think they still
that they
might.
are broken up. Yeah.
I think that there are some changes that need to be made on his schedule, and if he's willing to do that, because I think that he loves her. I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't peg him as a cheater or her as a cheater. I mean, who wants to be with somebody who's on the other side of the country half the year?
Right. I wish it would come to the point where he could like have his own restaurant like in New York City, and then like they can just live happily ever after.
Agreed.
And maybe they will.
Yeah.
Like, to your point, B, maybe they will find their ways back to each other.
I hope so, because I like them together.
I think they, yeah. At least on camera, they seem to fit well. All right. Larry, you watch Miami, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just double checking.
Oh God,
because,
yes, it's so good.
You know,
Larry
it's
is a
technically on
Latino,
Peacock.
okay? He gets Miami more than we ever could, right, Larry?
Oh God, it's so good.
Those are like his aunties.
Oh,
His
100%.
excuse me, his tias.
Right.
His tias. Oh, I love that. Okay, so it's been, I mean, talk about coming out of the gate strong. I just finally caught up, which love you, Bravo. I mean, Peacock for giving us so many, but I mean, getting that many watched in December was a bit of a challenge for me. I had to rewatch a few things not because it was boring, but I just kept falling asleep. But that's my pattern lately. But did anybody catch? I want to say it was maybe episode 3 or 4 when the group is out and Lisa's talking about how, strong her relationship is with Lenny. I think they were on a boat. They're outside somewhere. I'm blanking on where they were. But Kiki is sitting kind of next to her and she's giving the side eye the whole time.
Yes, like she did not believe it.
No, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think she or any of the other housewives knew something either that Lisa didn't or that maybe Lisa just wasn't ready to admit it to herself?
I feel like with people like that in Miami, they're like so social. They probably know a lot of people. A lot of them all know the same people. There were probably definitely rumblings of stuff going on, and I don't think anyone took it to Lisa because she would probably A, freak out or just be in denial. So it's like anywhere really, right? Like I'm sure you guys have heard rumors of like maybe your friends doing something and you're like, oh God, like I just would rather not like get in the middle of it. I can definitely see them knowing something and then kind of just like shrugging it off like, well, she'll learn on her own.
And we also know about Lenny's quote unquote emotional affair with that girl Morgan. I heard a lot before Miami came back that they had a somewhat open marriage or a turn a blind eye marriage. And I think the ladies kind of allude to that with these young girls at the parties. I don't think Lisa ever thought he would leave her for one of these girls. I am not saying she accepted what he did. I just think that she it was what it was.
I feel so bad for her. Like it just,
I do too.
He's such a dirtbag.
He's such a dirtbag.
Oh my God. But like, I mean, you know what? Like, it's probably been going on for years. This isn't like, she wasn't the first. Obviously, we know that. This girl is not going to be the last. He's going to do the same thing to her. Like, it's just, he has that complex where, like, he was probably like a dork when he was younger, and now he has money and is a little bit attractive.
Somebody sent me something that said, I don't know why you're not getting more of this, but just so you know, Lenny was a freaking weirdo. Like something's a little off with him. Weird personality. And when Lisa came around, she was the fun one. She was the party one. He would pay for people to go out and get the limos and get all this. And then when he met Lisa, he got this social life because of Lisa. And people always thought he was a weirdo. And so whatever. I think that he has, because of Lisa and these parties and whatever, he has had access to things and it got out of hand and now he left her for somebody, right? I think that Lisa probably thought once we have kids, it'll calm down. And even last season, he wanted to have a third kid, remember?
Yeah.
So.
Well, even remember the season prior, like when they were on 10 years ago, he still was kind of like a little weird. So this has been going on, I feel like, for a very, very long time.
And I honestly think the reason he went public with the girl is because he knows what was picked up on camera this season. And he was kind of like, all right, the gig is up, so let me just get out.
Yeah. I mean, those guys always think that it's going to be like the grass is greener on the other side. And then you get to the other side and look at it. Like now the entire world is against you and you are a loser. Like,
and like no mommy is going for a mommy makeover with that piece of shit.
Right. No
Even
way.
if he did good work, which rumor has it, I mean, we've seen.
I can see people boycotting his plastic surgery business in support of Lisa. Like,
totally.
100%. We talked about this. Like, I don't know, quite a while ago when we first started hearing that they were getting divorced. And I mean, Lisa, if you're listening and you didn't hear this before, I mean, she, I think, has a very legitimate claim to, helping build his business. It's because of her that he got, so much attention on Bravo.
Right.
I think she was the one who even coined him the Boob King or Boob, what's it? Boob?
Yeah, like the
Boob,
boob master.
whatever.
or something
God,
like
the
that.
boob
Yeah.
god.
Boob god.
Yeah.
But all of that, right? So like, I hope that she has somebody who has a very strong financial background and can really help. I mean, I would even imagine that they could go back and look at his business and see a definite spike from the first few seasons from before and then to when she started to be on the show. And they could probably see
she needs a good forensic
downward
attorney for sure.
and again,
Right.
because of her.
She needs
so
Sutton.
I am
She
just
needs
hoping
Sutton
that they
Schrack.
milk that.
She needs
What's
Sutton.
that?
She needs
Sutton
Sutton.
Strack's attorney. The one that
Yeah.
Sutton gave Erica that Erica didn't want.
Right.
Yes.
I will
Yes,
say
she does.
the top two right now are Potomac and Miami. I will say I see it, and not that we've seen it, but I see the writing on the wall that once Lisa and Larsa make up, which we know they do, because once Lenny acts a fool, Larsa's got a girl's back.
Yeah.
The divide between old and new Miami, we've seen it in the media. We see that Alexia comes out. She did an interview. She was very critical of both Nicole and Gertie.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just saw Marisol and Larsa throwing shade at Nicole and her fiance Anthony. Oh, he's not a real pilot. Well, he really owns a plane. So
Right. I saw that. I was like, he never claimed to be a pilot.
he actually said in that episode, I'm not actually a pilot. I'm doing a favor. I have to go to
Right.
work.
Right.
I think that.
And by the way, his plane on the side of it has his business
Yeah.
and insurance lawyers or whatever on the side of the plane. It's clearly a company plane that he flies as a hobby and for fun, and was trying to do something fun for his fiance. I don't think anybody is like, oh, you don't fly for United, you're not a real pilot.
Right. Wait, you don't have a JetBlue certificate? The hate is real. But listen, I love Miami. And the thing with Miami is I like all the ladies. So
Same. Yeah, me too. I do too. It's like they all bring it. I like them all
Larsa
too.
was the one I was on the fence about, but now knowing that she had that fallout with Lisa and knowing that she was such a soldier for her throughout their split, it made me like her more.
I am not loving the Julia storyline.
The milking the cows.
Oh
is
my
enough.
God, I know. If I have to hear about the goats one more time.
Larry, you're
the
from upstate.
crying.
Do you milk cows?
No, I don't even. There's not even a farm near me.
I think that, I guess what I was thinking is more of the her crying about it being an empty nest. I'm like, nothing's really changed that much from last year to this year.
Right.
Yes, there
And-
has.
and then
Now
with-
she needs a storyline.
Right. Because her daughter was like, what's the name of my school?
Right.
Right.
didn't
And she
even
couldn't
know.
say it. So I'm like,
Shady editors win every time.
I feel
Yeah.
like people can't wait for kids to leave the house, because then you can actually start living again. She should be going to, and I'm not a parent, so what do I know? But I mean, you guys have kids. Can't you? I bet you can't wait for them to go to college.
Well, but that
so you guys
also
can,
goes to the unhappy marriage, which is what I see. And I heard that there's
Yes.
another divorce down the pipe. And it's sort of like, listen, if you have a happy marriage, yes, Larry. Because for me, I'm like, my husband and I are like, all right, so we have how many years? We have a lot of years
Yeah,
left.
you guys are
my
going to
kids
be
are
out
young.
and about.
my
You guys already
God,
do
we're
a
already,
lot.
I know.
When the kids are
We're
gone, you're
already
going to be doing so much more.
My God. We're like, where are we moving? Where are we getting our well, we have our property in Florida, but we want another property.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but if I guess your marriage isn't good, then the focus becomes oh God, I got to look at this person.
Right. And when she's like, oh, no, we're not doing dinners for two. What do you mean? You should be
Right.
going out
How
to
fucked
dinners,
up is that?
traveling, doing all this stuff with your spouse, and you don't even want to go to you don't even want to cook dinner or have dinner with them alone. girl, I mean, you need to do some inner soul searching.
Please, when the carpool works out that both my kids are at sports and we're not driving them, we're like, pop the bottle.
Right.
Let's make some steak and some shrimp. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But I hope we're wrong about that. I hope it's just editing, but I don't think so. I think there's trouble in paradise. Larry, you're the best. We are running very over. I could honestly go for another hour and a half.
Yeah, probably same. Yeah.
The cocktailers have had it with us, I think. They're like, put this shit. Although, no, maybe it's like after Christmas and they're like cursing at, oh my God, I did this thing with like, what's the worst gift you ever had? And it made me like shocked. But then there was this one.
Tortoise.
Wait, the tortoise. But wait, there was one. Wait, so listen to this. So there was one. I want to get your opinions. This is going to be our end note, okay? So this girl is like, I'm 26 and my husband got me a handicapped bar for the shower. And like a lot of followers messaged me and they're like, I think that was a sex handle. And when she didn't get it, he like kind of just backed off it. What do you guys think?
What did
Like,
he get her a what?
He got her like a bar for the shower to like hold on to, but she's like, I'm a 26-year-old. I'm not handicapped. Like, I don't know why he got this.
Oh,
so
that was definitely for some shower fun.
Right. So I didn't get it. Like, listen, I like woke up, saw it, posted it, and then everyone was like, this girl does not realize, but you need to tell her that it was for shower fun. I'm like, I'm not going to freaking tell her. If you're listening, you know now. I will never say your name. Right. I'm just saying, like, you guys think that was for shower fun, right? Because it made sense.
It had to have been, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially if she's, like, in her 20s. Because, like, I think of those as, like, for people who are, like, older and aging in place in their homes and need extra stability, getting in and out of the shower. Or they just need something to hold on to during sex.
Right. So I think that she missed the memo.
Well, hopefully
and like,
she
is this now my responsibility?
Go...
Should I reach out or should I let sleeping dogs lie?
I would reach out and be like, did you ever think that maybe he wanted to install it so you guys can have a little bit of fun in the shower? And if she hasn't installed it, she needs to go do that now.
I'm going to tell her, listen, you better start banging on those banjos in the shower.
Sometimes people do just need a little bit of an explanation. Like, especially with Urban Dictionary type terms. You heard him talking about that actually on Miami this week, right? Like,
hilarious.
Oh my
that
God.
Was so funny.
And they're reading about loud.
When Alexia was trying to say Carl, I was telling my husband this, and he doesn't watch, like, you know, he really doesn't watch much Housewives, but he's like, you have to, like, dying laughing. I was like, Carla. She's like, it's too much work. I thought Todd was a gringo name, but what's Carla?
The dirty Sanchez, when Kiki was like, don't you know? You should know it's Sanchez.
Yes, that was hysterical.
Oh, God, I love
All right,
those
Larry,
women.
we love you. Funny. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, my God, of course. I can literally chat with you guys all day long. Thanks for having me. I hope you guys
well,
have
we
a good
do
holiday.
chat all day long.
Always welcome.
I know.
We love you.
We love you, Larry. Till next time, cocktail crew.
And Happy New Year, guys.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Happy holiday, happy Hanukkah, Merry
Happy
Christmas,
everything.
And Merry everything. I'm sure
Yes.
I left somebody out, and I apologize.
Thanks, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. Just want to ask you guys a favor, just getting kicked off. So many people have been asking us to do this podcast. So please do subscribe. And if you've subscribed, go to your podcast app and hit those 3 little dots to share with your friends, but only friends who like good tea, because the ones who don't care about tea, then like forget them. And don't forget, find us on Instagram at bravoandcocktails_. And check out the website, because some great tea gets put there daily that would get us kicked off of Instagram. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.